Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, to the Referrals Podcast. Another amazing episode. I know you're going to love today. You are going to be so much smarter in about 1 hour. You know why? Because we're going to talk to a really smart dude. He's a financial coach, especially for agents and realtors, and he's helped a ton of people I know reduce their debt and raise their prosperity. I cannot wait to jump into that, but I'm going to make you wait, because we've got to do a couple of announcements first. First of all, I got to give a shout out about Referral Mastery Academy. If you're not familiar with Referral Mastery Academy, go check it out at referralmasteryacademy.com. Jana Caudell, a top producer in Crown Point, Indiana, and Wendy Roman, one of her top producers, said, "Thank you, Referco, for all the hard work and pouring into all the Gen people in Referral Mastery Academy. I have already grown so much and look forward to continued growth and success. 5 referrals down so far. It's been 1 week." What? 5 referrals in a week? You heard last week, right, or 2 weeks ago, that we had a guy who got 36 referrals in 6 weeks. How's this happening? It's good stuff. All right. Here's the other thing. You want to learn 7L at a deeper level? Join our upcoming 7L Success Book Club. It's like the ultimate book club, or a book club on steroids, on 7L, the 7 levels of communication. And we're going to go through it chapter by chapter. It starts on May 2nd. You can join at 7lbookclub.com. That's the number 7, letter L, bookclub.com. Here's the thing. All these people are doing book clubs on 7L. We've just decided, you know what? We're going to host one live and in person, and it's going to be awesome. So 7lbookclub.com, go check it out. Speaking of checking it out, you got to check out this guy, right? I want you to listen to this introduction. At one point in his life, Matt found himself weighing 300 pounds. All right, so that's bad enough already, right? An alcoholic, an addicted sports gambler, smoking 1 to 2, not cigarettes a day, packs of cigarettes a day, and a marriage on the brink of collapse. Today, he has lost over 100 pounds, overcome his addictions, paid off $500,000, $500,000, people, worth of debt, and reinvigorated his relationship. Today, he runs a successful financial coaching business for real estate agents, leading them to profit, becoming debt-free, and creating a business that funds their dream life. Welcome to Referrals Podcast, Matt Plumer. Love to have you.
My man, thanks. Can I bring you along like on every road trip?
What are you talking about, man? You are your own intro. All you got to do is read this. It's just like, it's a story of resilience. It reminds me of the Kurt Warner movie that recently came out called The Underdog, right? I mean, it's just like, that is such a great, we got to talk about that. Before we do that though, what the listeners and viewers don't know is we've been trying to schedule this for like a year, and it just has not happened. It just has not coincided, and we haven't been able to match schedules until today. But how did we first connect? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. So when I got my license about 5 years ago, my real estate license about 5.5 years ago, the very first book, I was talking with people about, how to start a real estate business and how to start a company and what brokerage to join and all this stuff. And I had a friend of mine who I looked up to in the industry. He gave me one book and he said, "Before you do anything, read this." And it was the 7 levels of communication. And I read that book, and then obviously started on social and following you, and went through, every offering that you really had, Accelerate, Catalyst, Event Mastery, and met some really great people along the way that, that helped us and helped you and I just keep bridging that gap. And we've always stayed connected. And we ran into each other in another country 2 months ago.
That was awesome.
Yeah. So, so it's been a great 5.5 year journey in your world. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, thank you for trusting me on the journey, right? I mean, like, you took several of the classes, and I have to tell you, I love what I've seen from you the last 3 to 5 years with you finding your niche. And I truly believe it's one of the most important niches, especially with real estate agents and brokers, because I mean, brokers are called brokers because they're broke, and it's one of those where real estate agents, they make a great income, but they also spend a lot of it. And financial management of this is the timeline of a realtor's income, right? It looks like an EKG meter, and managing that for many are very difficult. It's very difficult, and you've helped them manage that and stay on top of it. And I know several of your clients who have had fantastic success, going to the point of being almost debt free and paid off hundreds of thousands of debt. So it's one of those where I just love the transformation that I've seen, and you finding your niche, and you're helping people, which is what you've always wanted to do.
Yeah, thank you so much. I knew, when my dad, when I moved to Northern Virginia 20 plus years ago, my dad told me, he said, Matt, you won't be in the golf business longer than 3 years. I was in the golf business 20 some years ago. And I wasn't. I was in the golf business 3 years. I found outside sales, and really, I found a vehicle. I had to go make more money, quite frankly. And so
to support your golf habit?
Yeah, exactly. To support everything else. And so when I started real estate, I knew in the back of my head that I wasn't going to be in real estate selling and helping buyers and sellers for a very long period of time. I knew there was a place for me in this industry that wasn't tied to a buyer or a seller. And like you said, I found the niche of finances with real estate agents, and I'm going to keep going as long as they until they turn me off.
Yeah, I love that. And so you're moving now from Virginia to Vegas. And what's interesting is, Vegas's nickname is Sin City. And I just listed off weighing 300 pounds, gluttony, alcoholic, addictive sports gambler. Can't be any better place than Vegas for a former addicted sports gambler. Smoking a couple of packs of cigarettes a day. I'm not sure if that's a sin, right? But a troublesome marriage. And you're going to Vegas, like of all places. Like what's up with that?
Well, Jesus didn't sit with the people that were the healed, right? Jesus sat with the sick. He sat with the troubled. He sat with the tax collectors, right?
That's right.
I say that in tongue in cheek, but also, ultimately at the end of the day, we're moving to Vegas because the climate, the tax structure, the traffic, just everything that we haven't had here for 25 years in Northern Virginia. And frankly, my wife and I have built a business, and her career is completely online, and it's allowing us to go build a gorgeous home and go inside or enjoy outside all those activities we love doing.
I love it. It's a pilgrimage, and you may not find a better place for golf. That's going to be, you're going to be able to golf a different golf course like every day of the week. It's going to be fantastic for that.
It's on my radar screens. Two, it's also on Melinda's radar screen on how many golf courses there are. So she don't worry, she will keep me in check to make sure that the work is still done.
I love it. All right, so you gotta tell me, and we're going to talk about financial transformation here in a second, because that's where that's your name of the game right now. But we have to, one of the most interesting parts of your story, Matt, is that you were at 300 and you've gone down below 200. You were in all. You have literally conquered some of the most addictive elements known to mankind. You've conquered them, and so what? How did you do that? What does it take? Here's the thing: if we can find out how you changed, then we can probably find out how everyone changed. And what do we want? We want behavior change. We want a constant, and never-ending improvement type of lifestyle and growth. So what did you do?
Well, the best part of the transformation story is actually what happens before. It's everybody always asks you, how'd you lose the weight, or how'd you do this, or how'd you do that? No one ever asks, how the hell did you get there?
How'd you gain the weight? Right.
Yeah, so trust me, it was a lot more fun gaining the weight than it was losing it. Trust me, along that journey. So, once I got into, the real world, I was always an addict at heart. I mean, I always, whenever I did something, I went all in. I was the best paper route guy. I was the best, cart super or the cart cleaner at the golf course. Like I always wanted to be the best, and I was addicted to that.
Mm-hmm.
And, whenever you're an addict and you start making money, you just become a bigger whatever you are. And I was an addict, right? Good news was I wasn't a jerk or anything like that. I was just an addict. So I just became more addicted to things. And, as I made more money, I ate more and I drank more and I gambled more, and, was in a career that was simply, even into real estate, I made great money. I just had no time. And so when you get caught in that cycle and you find yourself gambling or you find yourself eating, you always end up trying to go earn more than you're spending, right? Whether it's money or eating, working out harder, right? You're trying to outwork your fork. Right. You just can't do it. And so, I ended, it all came to a head on the counselor's couch. My wife and I had been married about 14, almost 18 months. And we had hit our rock bottom moment to where the counselor, after 2 or 3 sessions, like, here's the thing, dude, you got 12 months. You're going to be dead, divorced, in jail or broke.
Jeez.
And, Melinda's on one side of the couch crying her eyes out. I'm on the other side of the couch, this gorgeous $10,000 couch in the middle of a counselor's office that I didn't fit on. And, just that uncomfortable moment. And that was the moment of decision. And we'll talk a little bit about that transformation. And, I just started. I picked one thing, the thing that I wanted to do. I didn't want to stop drinking. I didn't want to stop gambling. I didn't want to stop smoking, but I knew I didn't fit on the couch. Mm-hmm. And I knew I could control what I put into my body. And that started a domino run of, drinking a meal replacement shake instead of going to McDonald's. Saw some wins on the scale, stopped drinking as much, stopped gambling as much. And really about 120 days later, it was all done.
Wow. One good habit, that's momentum. Momentum matters. It's like, it's compound interest working for your habits. Yeah. It's a compound effect of everything that you did right. And I have to tell you, I'm in a similar spot. I've lost quite a few pounds. I'm waiting for the big reveal to show the guns and the rest of the story. But it's one of those where, I've gone through this transformation as well. And it's one of those where, when you are working out, you start taking creatine and HMB, and you start doing protein shakes. And then you're like, why would I buy these things and also drink a beer, right? Or go eat at McDonald's, right? I haven't done either of the other two all year this year. So it's one of those where you just want to keep the momentum. And there's also a part of me, and you tell me if you've had this experience, where like I have a fear of losing the momentum. Like I'm fearful that, oh my God, things are going so well. What happens if I go off track? Do you have that feeling too?
When I was in going through my not my weight loss, but my drinking and just having the conversations, I didn't go through a program. I just did it. I just did it. And I would, what affected me was the most, and what flipped the switch for me, Michael, was I'd have to show up to my counselor and he'd ask me how many days sober I was. And I would say, I'm 4 days sober, except I had 2 drinks 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I kept throwing away days of sobriety. I kept throwing away that streak.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the last 2 drinks that I had downtown Washington, D.C. It was a happy hour with real estate agents. And before I was in the business, and on my way home, I was just like, you know what? I'm never going to break this streak again. And I didn't. And it's, coming up on 10 years.
Man, kudos and congrats. I mean, I seriously, some things deserve applause, and some things really deserve applause.
And you mentioned it in 7L. Yeah. With, the success suicide. Yep. Of just, sabotaging yourself, of having 30 days in a row of being sober and being like, I'm going to let my guard down. Right. And whether it's you're breaking a streak or not, you're just sabotaging that success. And it's so hard to come back especially if you just don't bounce right back. If you don't bounce back, like it's game over.
Yeah, very tough. It's been like with the lifting and stuff. Like it was literally the first week. I hurt my shoulder. I lifted and then I went and threw cold football, and like I hurt my shoulder a little bit. And then like the next week, my trainer had me do some god awful exercise on a treadmill, sideways and backwards, and then sideways and then side. And I had the worst like hip pointer in the history of my life. Like it was like excruciating. And then like 3 weeks after that, like I hurt my right elbow. And then like right now I've got tendonitis in my left elbow. And it's like, you know, I think a lot of people, it's just like they would get those injuries or soreness. I mean, super sore, right? And quit, right? But the thing is that like that's success suicide. You just keep going. Now, can I go in and bench 315 right now with the tendonitis? No, but you know what I can do? I can do dumbbell press, and I can do dumbbell incline, and I can do the cable crossovers, right? I can do things like that. So it's one of those where the person who knows success suicide is a possibility, they you go right through it. And is it going to be as intense? Is it going to be full bore? We're never full bore. Trust me. There's no such thing as full bore. It's just as good as you can do on that day, and just keep going and doing as good as you can that day. You know, there's going to be setbacks, and just make it a setup for a comeback. Thank you, Zig Ziglar. Right. So I love this. I love this dialogue. I love what you've overcome, and how you're you know, how about the credibility on what you talk about now? You know, versus if you were 300 pounds, an alcoholic, smoker, and you know, still gambling a bunch and that kind of, I mean, it's like you would be you'd have, you know, fraud phobia, right? Now, when you're giving advice, it's like, shit, I'm listening to this guy. I mean, he's done it. He's been there, done that. So, all right. So let's jump into finance, right? Because we've kind of, I like the evolution of this is I'm huge into prosperity. I believe, you know, Proverbs 11:25, a generous one shall be a prosperous one. He who refreshes others shall be refreshed himself, right? And it's like prosperity is health, wealth, and happiness, essentially, right? Is it other stuff too? It's freedom, choice, you know, that kind of thing. But a big part of it for a lot of people is money, right? Zig Ziglar said, you know, money isn't everything, but it's fairly close to oxygen in importance, you know? And so it's like, what are the 3 steps to a financial transformation for your coaching clients?
Yeah. The first thing is that awareness, right? It's just the facts.
Yeah.
You know, and again, this is all transformation. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I got my money down, but my pants are tight, the good news is this all works the same. It's awareness, right? Awareness is just an accumulation of all of your decisions up until today. It's just the facts. The facts are truth, and the truth will set you free.
There you
go. Awareness will do 50% of the heavy lifting. And when I have that first conversation or two with my coaching clients or friends, and I'm just like, give me the facts, right? You know, this is how much I weigh. This is how much money I have. This is who I owe. This is what my pipeline looks like. I don't care what the answer is.
Right.
We just got to figure out where we're starting from. Right. And that awareness, when you say it out loud, you know, when people are like, how'd you stop smoking? I was like, well, I just became aware that I'm about ready to light grass or chemicals on fire and inhale chemicals into my lungs. Pretty easy to get to step 2 of that transformation. That's a decision to stop smoking.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So in finances, once we become that aware, and again, most real estate agents have that awareness when they say, this is how much money I make or I made. This is how much money I have. This is who I owe. And that O generally starts with the government.
Mm-hmm.
This is how long I've been doing this, right? Here's how much longer I want to do it, and here's what I have left. Here's what I have to show for it.
I love that. Just taking data, right? And I think that's the other thing about it is that you being the coach can be very logical and unemotional about the data. It's just a data point. It's nothing else. I'm not going to judge you on the decisions you made. I'm not going to, that kind of thing. And I think that's another part where hearing your story helps people get comfortable with telling you, because they're like, as bad as I got it, he had it worse, you know? And I think it's one of those where I love, and as you know, coaching has a role in life. I truly believe that is you can't be logical and emotional at the same time. So what a coach can do is a coach can be the logical self so that you can be the emotional self and speak from the heart and really get in touch with the emotions that are driving you, and what do you love, and what do you not love, and let's figure out what do you love, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. And um all right, so we have these data points.
Yep.
What's the second step to transformation?
Once you're there, you just have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, here's the deal. I'm going to get out of debt. I'm going to own my tax problem. I'm going to be honest with myself that I have an unpredictable business producing unpredictable results, whatever it is, right? But you have to make a decision that you're going to change that, right? I made a decisions that I'm no longer going to be 300 pounds. I'm no longer, when Melinda and I woke up and we realized, and we put it all on paper, and we were $500,000, 551 grand in debt. We're making a decision today that we're going to change. And now we have to go on a journey to find out who's got different information so we can start taking in more information. Because all that decision is just, you can decide today, right? You can make a decision that you're going to change now.
I love it. And draw the line in the sand.
It's done.
So you drew the line in the sand.
I'm never going to feel like this in these clothes again. I'm never going to look at my bank account and feel this way again. It's just awareness. It's just the facts. I'm making a decision. I'm going to hire Michael Maher. I'm going to hire Matt Plumer. I'm going to hire whoever, because they have the journey, right? They've already paved the super highway to reach back, so I don't have to go through the forest. Mm-hmm. I can go straight on the on-ramp, and I can get straight on the super highway, and I can get to where I want to go because of this. This is the decision I have to make.
I love that. So three is action. What's 3?
Intentionality. You just got to be intentional.
Yeah.
When it comes with money, there's only one thing that you have to be intentional with, and that's your money before you spend it. Mm-hmm. And I even take it a step further and say you have to be so intentional with your money and know it before you even earn it.
Yeah, there you go. Proactive, right?
You have to be so proactive. So many people I have conversations with show me their profit and loss statement from last quarter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was 180 days ago.
Yeah.
Right? By the time they're getting it and by the time they're reading it and looking at it, I was like, right? In our world today, 6 months ago, the interest rates were 3.5%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. So, the world is changing.
Yeah, everything's changing, right? Your pipeline was way different 90 days ago than it is today. Mm-hmm. So it's okay to have some of those reference points to be reactionary, mm-hmm. but you have to be so proactive to your money, which is, why the first half of the month we reflect and we plan, or we reflect. The second half of the month we're planning the next month.
That's right.
How many closings do you have? How many of this do you have? I mean, if you don't have, you want to know on the 15th of the month that you don't have any closings for the next month, or you want to wait all the way until the 5th of that month to realize you're not paying your mortgage, mm-hmm. right? And so it's that intentionality with our money, and it's intentionality with time, it's intentionality with what we eat, and I use this analogy, it's back to my health and fitness days. If you're when you're on a journey, are you using any type of a food tracker or food like on what you eat?
Mm-hmm.
or have you in
Yeah.
the past, right?
No, yeah, I do.
The number one is My Fitness Pal out there, right?
Yep, yep.
And so if you say,
I
hey,
actually use the Apple Health one, but it's very similar to, yeah.
there you go.
Yep, yep.
So, hey, here's what I can eat. If I go to Chick-fil-A and get the number one, hey, it fits in my macros, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, am I going to put it in after I eat it?
Mm-mm.
Right? And if I do, is it too late? It's too late.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So if you put the food in after you eat it, it's too late. Now you can be reactionary and say, okay, hey, I'm not going to eat the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Right? And then get to the next day, right? And that's where that decision comes back in, right?
That's right.
But then if you do that with your money, it's like, okay, here's how much life costs. Here's how much my world costs. Here's how much I'm coming in. I allocate that money before I even earn it. It's the number one thing that you can do next to tracking your money every single day.
I'll tell you, that's like a drop the mic moment. Here's like the word of this podcast is proactive. You know, being proactive instead of reactive. And I wonder if all habit change is really looking forward with a change of life in mind. You know, I wonder if that's what changes the habit, because I mean, this really goes to sweet dreams, and the Sunday night ritual that we do is, you know, the Sunday night ritual is sweet, which is look at your schedule for the next week, not the last week, look at it next week. And then the weather, you're not looking at the weather of the past week. Do you really, I mean, how many of you have looked at the weather for last Wednesday ever? Like, the fact is you don't. Why? Because it doesn't matter. Your past doesn't matter. It's only your future. So you look at the weather for this week to make your decisions based on what to wear, and if your baseball games are going to be inside or outside or not at all. And then you've got extra eating plan, right? So we have a meal plan. There's a meal plan on our refrigerator. Literally calorie-based, carb-based, protein-based, fat-based, right? And then we have the exercise plan, which is the other E. And then the T is we tie it all together by laying our outfits out and making sure the workout stuff together. And I have a book for my workouts, and, you know, it's all ready for the week. So it's amazing how much that lines up with your reflect and plan that you're doing with your clients, and doing it from a financial side.
Yeah. I mean, time, money, relationships, and health and fitness all have these same principles. Like, if you plan it and be intentional with it on the front end, it sets you up for success on the back end.
Yeah. Oh, man. So how can an agent overcome like the two biggest causes of stress and anxiety that comes with the real estate business? First of all, what are those, in your opinion? What are the biggest causes of stress? And then how do we help agents overcome that?
So we go right back to number one, right? Awareness. This is just truths. You know, thousands of conversations, whether coaching calls or discovery calls. Here's what we know that's true. Real estate agents don't know, they make less than they think. We all spend more than we care to admit, and most are behind on taxes and or retirement. So those are the truths, right? The majority of real estate agents fall into those buckets. Now, how, and this is, how did you change? No, how did we get there? The two things that stress agents out the most is inconsistent income and disorganization.
Yeah.
Financial disorganization. However, if you're financially disorganized, there's a chance your calendar is disorganized, right? So, and your system and so on and so forth, right? Again, no shame, no blame, no guilt, just the facts.
It is what it is, right?
Right. So inconsistent income and disorganization. So if we can fix those two things to where, you know, one, how much you're going to make every month, and two, how much you're going to spend every month, and then apply an organizational path of money to it. That was one of the mistakes that I wrote in the book, 5 Financial Mistakes, is the path, not knowing the path of money. When we can get that path of money right, from when agent XYZ sells a house and broker ABC pays them, what happens to that $10,000?
That's right. How is it dispersed, right?
Right.
And you're proactive with it instead of, you know, it's kind of the old, you know, tell your money where to go instead of wonder where it went, right?
Yep. and you have to tell it where to go several times before it even gets to you.
Oh, I love that. Love that. The filters, right? The
Have
filters,
to.
the folders, the envelopes, whatever you want to call it. Right?
Filters, folders. I teach every single person profit first as a profit first professional.
That's right.
You set it up in bank accounts. There's, and it's the hardest thing. It's the first step. It's the hardest step is to have the conversation with the banker and to say, hey, this is what I want. And they're going to look at you like you have 12 heads, but go set up 10 accounts.
That's right.
Right?
I'm a believer.
You have to do it.
I'm 22 accounts later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a little harder to maybe manage? But yes and no. But it's organized. I'm a big believer in there's a place for everything, right? I mean, it's just like your drawer for your utensils in your kitchen, right? If I told you to go get a fork, how hard would it be for you to go get a fork? It's going to take you no time. You could get it in a heartbeat. Why? Because you know where it's at, and you even know exactly where it's at, and it's organized in a way you can grab it easily. It's the same thing with money and accounts, right? Is what's your fork drawer? What's your knife drawer? And it just, and then you know what to pull from, and you also know where you have problems, right? If the tax folder is a little lean, then you need to sell something or you need to figure something else out, right? So
here's something funny with that drawer analogy. This is so good. And think about this. You can go find the fork with your eyes closed in the dark at 2:00 in the morning, walking from your bedroom.
That's right. That's right.
Like and so many, and you mentioned 22 accounts. The more accounts I have, it's funny, my net worth has gone up the more accounts that I have.
There you go. Right. Well, you got to keep more accounts full.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's all it comes out. You're like, that one's a little low. I better go sell something. I better go get some income. I love that. What are the biggest mistakes that agents make with their money? Right. What do you think? I mean, because I kind of have some theories on this, but you've talked to thousands of people on this one specific subject.
Yeah. So I have 5 in my book. And as as an author, you find things that you want to tweak a little bit. Here's the first thing. Number 1 is the lack of a plan.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no plan, right? There's no plan and I don't want to just say, okay, here's number 2, right? There's no plan for so many things. What am I going to do with my money?
Mm-hmm.
When am I going to stop selling real estate?
Mm-hmm.
That's a question that no real estate agent knows. I mean, most real estate agents.
They say 80, right? They say when I die. Well, I love it so much. I'm going to do it till I die.
Well, I'm going to do it until I die. I'll always sell real estate. Well, here's the fact is most real estate agents are going to take a listing on the way to their funeral.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They have to.
Because
right?
they have to pay the taxes.
They have to pay their taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So here's the thing. What is your plan? Right? I'll just use me. Hey, I'm 43. This is how many houses I'm selling. This is how much I have in real estate. Here's how much I have in the bank. Here's how many houses I'm selling. Here's when I want to stop selling real estate. 63. Just using it as a number. I got 20 years. So what's going to be my plan to go sell X amount of houses and save Y amount of money so I have Z amount of money at 63 and I can go enjoy it along the way.
Mm-hmm.
You need a plan, right? You need a plan so you can follow the roadmap. And one of the reasons why so many agents don't have that is because they're trying to fix today's problem looking through the lens of today.
Mm-hmm.
And as far they can see as far as Friday or their next closing.
Yeah.
Right. So it's you and I as coaches and mentors and people that have paved the way, take them out, let them go out there, see it. Hey, Michael, you're going to need $3 million. You tell me, you said you want this. This is what you want, right? You want $100,000 a year to take care of you, Sherry, and Max at 63. Okay. So you need 3 million. I'm using numbers, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you need. And you have 200,000 today. Here's what we have to do. Mm-hmm. Now we have something we can follow. Now we have a roadmap. So that's the problem. That's how you solve it.
Yeah, I love it. I noticed that you say plan a lot instead of the word budget. Is there a reason for that? Or is
I
it one
say,
and the same?
well, so I think there's two different words. One, I think the word budget puts a restrictive
Yeah.
feel on things,
Yeah.
which makes me wonder
Like
why
it's not in the budget.
yeah, it's not in the budget, it's not in the budget, it's not in the budget,
Yeah.
which is, one of the things like my Facebook group is called Budget Hacking or
Yeah.
Budget Hackers. And I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I should change the name of it.
Yeah.
But no, when I say plan, right, we need to plan our money. We need to budget our
Yeah.
money. We need to budget our time. I think when people hear the word budget, that comes off restrictive. However, I know it's freedom
Mm-hmm.
when you plan it, right? When you budget stuff, say, hey, I only have 1,500 calories to eat today. How am I going to budget this out through my meals?
That's right. I love it. I mean, and a plan seems more hopeful, right? I mean, even planning, like, it's like the word communication, right? It's like all these people, it's like, you should write the 7 levels of marketing, right? You should call it that. And it's like, no, I stick to my, it's seven levels of communication, right? Marketing is a part of communication, but it's like communication is going to lead to more sales and more happiness, more relationships than marketing will. So it's one of those where it's like, plan is kind of that same thing. It ain't sexy, but man, I find the sexiest people I've ever met have a plan. You know what I mean? So think about that. I think that's a powerful statement on that. And by the way, for those of you listening, go to 5financialmistakes.com. Matt has a free ebook for you. It's called 5 Financial Mistakes. You got to check it out. If you're a real estate agent, broker, anything in the real estate industry, this book is going to blow you away. It's going to be awesome. He not only tells you the mistakes, he tells you how to overcome them, and also has a list of ways that you can get better. So I love that. I love that. So Matt, if you were gonna like wrap this up with some words of wisdom, like what would be your advice for a specific, let's go real estate agent or a realtor, on like they're sitting there and they have a couple of closings, they're close on their rent, they're just not sure where all the money's going to come from to do what they want to do. Like, what's your advice on that?
One, when you go through that awareness phase, make sure you acknowledge that it's okay to be where you are. However, it's not okay to stay there.
Mm. Wow. That is words of wisdom for sure.
And my biggest fear, even today, and it has been for several years, but my biggest fear on this planet is being in the exact same place 12 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people are going to hear this and they've got a lot going on well in their life. However, what happens is when you're in the boat and there's a leak in the boat, does it matter how fast you paddle across the lake? Like, it doesn't matter how many houses you're going to sell. You won't be able to sell enough houses. Right. So if we just say, okay, hey, here's the deal. Here's the awareness. What do I need to do next? Remember back when I said, how did you lose the weight? You got to figure out how you got to the place.
Mm-hmm.
So go back 30 days, go back 60 days, go back 90 days. Where did you spend your money? And again, this is so archaic. This is so hard. It's not hard. It's easy, but it's time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
Is go and download all of your bank statements, download your credit card statements, pull everything and stack it up and just block a day on the calendar and just go figure out where the money went. Because when you can figure out where the money went, now you're still going to go sell houses.
Yeah.
You're going to sell a ton of houses. But if we can now avoid those landmines that we just stepped on over those last 90 days, the next 90 days, and you still go sell 3 houses a month, or you still go sell 2 houses a month, or 30 houses a month, if you're a big mega team, whatever it is, now now you can say, I can make it that 90 days. I can lose that 10 pounds. I can go to 90 meetings in 90 days. I can, right, whatever it is. And so that's the first thing. And then the next thing is simply log into your bank account every day. And don't look at the balance, look at the transactions. Where are you spending money? Today, we're in such 100% digital world. We never use this anymore.
That's right.
It's gone. COVID eliminated paper money.
That's right.
100%.
Yeah.
3 years ago, we were still using cash.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
2 years ago, nobody's got cash anymore. Right?
Yeah.
So we don't feel money. We don't feel when we spend $500. We don't feel when we spend $2,000. We don't feel when we buy a $5,000 trip.
Just a card. It's a piece of plastic that we put out there, right?
It's not even. It's online, and the stuff's stored. It's on your watch, right? Like
it's Apple Pay, right? iPay. Boop, boop.
You don't
Done.
we don't even do
Too
anything.
easy.
There's no card. You walk into Whole Foods, you just hold your watch over the register, and it's like there's $47 worth of nuts out the door, right? I mean, like between cashews and nut butters, right? There's $47, and I paid with it with my watch.
Yeah, and staying healthy is expensive sometimes.
Yeah, so when you're just like, okay, I have to pay attention to the money going out.
That's right.
And then that third thing is, first is let's go back 90 days. Where were the landmines we stepped on? Now, moving forward, let's track it every day. Grab you a little journal, go in your notes section, and just write down $47.86 at Amazon, $496 this subscription. Just who cares? Just write it down. You have to become aware that you're spending money. And then the last thing is take your next X amount of days, right? Your next or your commission checks, and write down how much money you have coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Understand how much it's going to cost. You just went through how much the life's going to cost, and say, okay, hey, if I've got $20,000 coming in the next 30 to 40 days, here's how I'm going to allocate it. Right? You can get some of the more of the details in the book. Send me a message on Facebook or whatever it is, and we can have that conversation to just simply, easily walk you through this high level, not even in the weeds. 15 minutes. And we can get you unwrapped from the axle pretty quick.
I love it. Matt, you hit it out of the park today. And by the way, if I'm any real estate agent listening to this podcast, I'm taking Matt up on that offer. I'm going to download the ebook at 5financialmistakes.com. I'm going to go find Matt on Facebook. I'm going to go find Budget Hackers, which he's going to soon change to Money Hackers. And I would make sure you join that group. And I would follow this guy and make sure that you're financially right? It's about health, wealth, and happiness. Wealth is a big part of health and happiness. So, Matt, I just want to say from all of us at ReferCo and Referrals Podcast, you were well worth the wait, brother. 6 months to a year to get you on. We finally got you on, and you rocked it today. I really, really appreciate you being a guest on Referrals Podcast.
It's the honor's all mine. Thank you so much. It's a highly recommended book. It's in the short list of everyone that you've got to read it, and that I recommend. So can't wait for you guys to have a referral mastery event out in Vegas. It's going to be a blast, and I'd love to attend.
Awesome. Matt, I appreciate you. And listeners, I appreciate you. If you're listening to this, you may want to check out YouTube. You can watch it as well. Also, go to check out referralmasteryacademy.com. I truly believe it's the biggest no-brainer in the coaching business. It's every month you're going to get a 30-day challenge, and every month we're going to help you achieve self-mastery, relationship mastery, event mastery, which all leads to referral mastery. We would love to have you as a member and an ambassador at referralmastery.com. Check it out when you get a chance. If you liked what you heard today, do me a favor, rate and review Referrals Podcast. And by all means, share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues, share it in your office. We'd love to hear more from you. It's a top 100 podcast in the United States right now, and it's only because of you. You, the listeners, we applaud you today. Thank you. I love you, and we'll see you again next time on the next episode of Referrals Podcast.